Okay, is that working? I think it's working. Right, greetings, rackheads, and we are back. We are back in the rack in VCV Rack 2.0.6. We're gonna go to full screen. Okay, so today we're going to continue our investigation of seeded randomness by making some chunky, thick beats. So hopefully we can make something a bit like this. Yeah. And then we click the big button here to get a variation. Oh yeah, breaking it down. Okay. Whew, there's some crazy ones in there. Right. So let's start. Let us start by deleting everything. Hopefully I can remember what I've used. Yeah, let's just start by shoving in the drum stuff. So yeah, we're gonna if we just search for kick. So just done a right mouse button click, and I'm gonna take the Bifaco kick all. This is a super cool little kick synth, and yeah, we're going to use that, and we're also going to use the PCM drum by Horror. I thought this was based on like a Boss Dr. Sample or Dr. Rhythm or something, because it's got that kind of the color and everything like this. But I had a look, and actually this particular module, the L drum version, is based on the Lindrum. So there you go. So PCM, pulse code modulation, so it's a sample player, and we're going to take one of those and use that for the snare. So we've got this one is already on the snare bank, and then we're just going to duplicate this, hover over it, and then it's just Command D or Control D on PC, and I'm just going to make a copy of that. And this one I'm going to change the bank to hi-hats and crash, or hat and crash. Okay, so we've got our basic three elements of a beat here. We've got our kick, snare, and cymbals. Right, so let's get some other bits and bobs. So the most basic thing would just be to get a clock. I like this BPM one here, and we can just take the beat, stick it in the trigger here, and you can see it's pulsing away, and we just take the output, and we can just pop that into output, and we've got a nice synthesized kick there. So we've got a decay, we've got a wave shape or timbre, and we could also do a bit of pitch bend to give it a bit of a click. We can tune it as well, so let's, I'm going to right mouse button click here and type in a pitch. So I'm going to put in 50. Oof, nice. There it is, there it is. Okay, so that's our kick. Great. And yeah, let's get cracking straight away with the seeded randomness. So we're going to use Seeds of Change again. Fantastic module, and as we previously mentioned, this allows us to reset the pseudo random number generator and kind of loop through a really large value, in order to recall chunks of the random number. I'm explaining that badly. Look at the last video. But basically, it kind of loops it. You can create a random sequence and you can loop through it, and every time you click this reseed, you kind of go back to the start of the sequence. So in its most basic form, you would do something like this. We're just going to take the 16th note output from the clock here. We're going to pop it in the clock input, and then we're going to say every bar, so we're going to take the bar output, we're just going to reseed it. Okay, so that's just going to, well, actually let's not do that. Let's just try it as is for now. So last time we looked at these control voltage outputs. We've got these gate outputs at the bottom and these probability controls. So we can just take this gate here, put it into the trigger of our kick, and then on the left here we've got the probability amount. So at the minute I think it's set to 0% chance. So if we crank it all the way up, we get a 100% chance. So we've just got 16th notes there with the kick. But if we turn the probability down, like to 50% for example, so half the time it plays a kick, half the time it doesn't, and it's random. Okay, so what we can do now is we can plug the bar into the reseed, and every bar it will repeat. There you go, so we've got it looping now, brilliant. And what we can do to change the loop is we can just alter the seed. So let's just, and we get a slightly different pattern. Nice. Okay, so let's, well, we've got three things here and we are going to need some way of mixing them together. So I'm just going to search for a mixer. I'm probably just going to use, or actually we're going to search for matrix. Is there a little mute one? Oh, what was it called again? Well, let's just search for mute. I want one with mute switches so that we can switch things on and off. There, that should do. The Mumix from Bog Audio. So yeah, we're just going to pop our kick in the top. So this is a little unity mixer. So we just take the output now, turn that up, that should work. Brilliant. And now we're going to take the output from our PCM drums, which is one there, and the next one there. And yeah, and then we can just take our gate output here and here, and we use that to trigger these. And if I turn that up, yeah, so we just need some, we need to add some probability here, turn the chance up like that, and then you see here we can just mute things. Which is handy, cool. So, right, we need some variation. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the sample here. So we've got a sample select input, and we're going to use our control voltage from the seeds of change so that we are looping so that it picks the same sample at the same point in the phrase until we change the seed, and then it will select a different pattern. So you can see now we're cycling through these different samples. If we unmute that. And you can hear that's looping round and it's picking the same samples each time round. And then we just change the seed. and then we can change the probability as well. Cool. But we don't want to change this manually, or we do want to change it manually, but we want to do it all at the same time. We want some higher level control. That's what I'm trying to say. Rather than twiddling all of these knobs individually, we just want to have one big stupid button that you press. So I'm just gonna search for a button, and there's this nice big purple one here I quite like, and you can write things in here. And then I can just connect this up to well, we need to generate a seed, and we need to mess about with the probability. So I'm just gonna use this button to trigger some random values. So I'm gonna search for random. Here's my favorite one, the 2x R&D, and I'm going to take the output from our button and use that to trigger some random values. So I just connect that up to the trigger on both of these random number generators, and then I'm going to use this one here to change the seed. The next one I'm going to use to change the probability here, and then here and here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reset these a bit, and then if I press that, does that work, or do I need to turn them up? Okay, so I think these work a bit like an offset. So I think if I turn up the probability, okay, let's crank this up. Oh yeah, you can see the little yellowy orange bit, which is to do with the current value going into these CV inputs. So if I just crank this all the way up and then click the button, is that changing the probability? Or not? So hang on, maybe we need to do, here we go. We turn these up. So these are the, I take it these are, I think these are attenuverters for the CV input. So I'm just going to crank them all the way up, and now when I click the button, yeah, you can see we've got these little orange, you can't really see that, let's zoom in. And let's just turn this down. Yeah, we don't need to hear it. That's one of the things I love about VCV. It's all vector-based stuff, so I could get right up, yeah, I can get right up in there and have a good look at what's going on. So if I click this massive button now, you'll see we're getting different values for the probability. So, and you'll also see that we're getting different values for the seed as well. I don't know if that matters what that's set to. No, I don't think it does. Okay, so there you go, that should work. Zoom, and let's get some volume and we'll hear what that's like. There we go, we've got some variation. Right, I'm just going to turn the kick back on. So as you can hear, well, I mean, that's it in its most basic form. That's it. It's all working. It's all going. That's good. The only thing is that maybe there's a bit too many kicks at times. So I'm actually just going to reduce this to, so it's a right mouse button clicking on this little dial here, which is the attenuverter for the CV input for the probability. It's confusing. Anyway, what I'm going to do is just limit the chances of a kick drum. So I'm just going to put it at 50% maximum. So you can see here it's already chopped that in half, the this little yellow indicator thing. So if I now click the button, you'll see that we've sort of limited how high the probability is for the kick drum. So that should give us something more usable. Yeah, so much less kick drums. Brilliant. Okay. But you might want to I mean, I think that's great right there. That's a cool setup. But you have maybe you want something a bit more regular in terms of the rhythm, like a 4/4 or something like this, 4 on the floor with the kick. And then when you click the button, you just want variations rather than, you know, the way it is at the moment, where you've got a much wider range of possibilities in terms of where the kick is going to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the beat output from the clock. So we used that earlier, and it just gives you a straight 4/4 4/4 on the floor, 4 quarter notes. So what we're going to do is take that, and we're going to kind of mix it with the stuff coming from the probability gate on the seeds of change module. So if I just right mouse button click, I'm going to search for bool, as in boolean, and then we've got this bog audio. Want another nice little mini module. I like these skinny mini modules from bog audio. They're fantastic. And then we're just going to pop that before the kick and the gate. So, well, yeah, so we're going to take the output from, well, no, let's put the inputs in first. So you need the beat in the here, and then we're going to take the probability one here, and then we're going to go for, so we've got different outputs here. We want the or output. So the or means either or. So it will trigger when we get the 4/4 beat from the clock, and it'll also trigger when the seeds of change spit something out on the probability gate. So I'm just going to take or, plug it in a trigger, and now we should get variations with the kick drum, but we should also have a 4/4. There'll always be a 4/4 there. So yeah, let's just listen to that. Sirens, they're coming to get me. I don't know if you can hear that. If you can't hear the sirens in the background, then I just sound crazy. Yeah, anyway, so there you go. So now we've got a more consistent beat in terms of, we've got that 4/4, but then we've also got these variations as well coming through. Nice, and we can do a similar thing with the hi-hats or the cymbals, the hat and crash. Could have just said cymbals. What with them both being symbols. But the hat and crash, let's duplicate. Oh, where's it put that? Oh, it's duplicated those. Whoops, because I had them selected. So let's just hover over here, and I'm going to do Command D, sticks it up there. I'm going to pop that down here, and then we're just going to do the same thing. But for the hats or the symbols, I'm just going to take the 8th note output. Yeah, because we want 8th notes, and we also want the trigger from the probability here, plonk, and then we're going to take the OR output here. So when either of those inputs goes off, it should output here. And now let's mute the kick and let's mute the snare, and let's put the kick in. Nice. So you get a more of a consistent rhythm, but you also get those variations on top. There's a few bits and bobs we could do. So you can mess about with the tuning of these of the samples. That can be good. So what I'm going to do is use these other 2 CV outputs from the Seeds of Change. So again, it will be sequenced or looped rather than just completely random, so that we get a sense of phrasing, and yeah, and that's what we're going for. So we just plonk that in there. I'm going to listen to it while it's happening. Nice. What we can do is we can just adjust the tuning a bit. Maybe we want some snares that are lower in frequency, so just, what's it on there? Well, let's just put it at 0.5. Bonk. Nice. Okay, so it's starting to come together now. So let's just shifty things along, tidy it up a bit. Oop, don't go up there. Come back, come back. Plonk that along there. Put that there. Okay, zoom out a bit so we can see everything. Right. Oh yeah, so a couple of things. Again, at the minute we're looping every bar, but you know, we could change that up a bit. So a useful thing would be to have a divider. So I'm just going to right click and Cool Breeze, and then we're just going to type in div for divider, and we're going to stick in a clock divider. Let's put in clock divider CV. I'm going to use it as a regular clock divider for now, but I'll also show you something else quickly because it could be interesting. But from here, what we can do is count, for example, beats. Let's just count beats. So put the beats into the clock, and we just say every 2 beats we're going to reseed. So instead of using this bar output, we just plonk that on the 2nd output there. So we should have a much shorter loop. Nice. So that can be quite useful. I mean, if you went to 1, if you just used the actual beat output, you could go, you know, if you want to get that GABA vibe going on, bit of GABA. Here we go, come on. We'd have to take it up a bit, wouldn't we? What, 140 or something at least. And then a bit more. nice. So you can see you can get lots of different things going on depending on where you decide to loop the how long you have your phrase and when you decide to reseed. Also, you don't have to reseed at a regular interval like this. We can, for example, create a weird kind of feedback situation whereby the seeds of change is affecting when you reseed the seeds of change, which affects when you reseed the seed. So if we just take one of these CV outputs, I'm just going to borrow this one here. That is being used for the pitch of the cymbals. I'm just going to double up and just shove that into the shift. I know that's not ideal because the shift's expecting between 0 and 7.5, and what are we sticking out of here? 10, 0, between 0 and 10. If we want it to be pedantic, we'll put 7.5 in here. And so now we've got something even crazier going on, which is if you look at the reseed, you'll see it's not a regular interval anymore. It's kind of, there's a pattern there, there's a pulse to it. Right, let's listen. See? Yeah. So there's now a kind of rhythm or pattern on when we reseed it. So that even more variation. Right, where would we put that though? What are we plugged into? So we're plugged between the clock and the seeds of change. I think what we're going to do is this can go on this side here. Budge everything along. So great. Tough, sounding tough. One last thing we're going to do is we're just going to stick some distortion on just to get it extra crunchy and chunky. And if we just search for distortion, yes, this disto thing, look at it, ominous looking shape, and we're going to clag that on everything. So just go in here, out of here, in there, and we're just going to click on the gain and stick that to a gain of 1, and you can see the eye, the pearl, the dot, the ominous circular thing. Just go for 1 for now. Oops, touch bar. One of these days I'll make a video without accidentally pressing the touch bar on my silly laptop. You can hear that's quite distorted. I'll just turn it up a bit. What we can do is hover over this device, and you can do Control E, I think, on PC, or Command E on Mac. In my mind, so it's the bypass. You can bypass any module. Watch, I don't even need mutes. Why did I even bother? So you can see we can just bypass a module using that shortcut. In my mind, I think of it as E for eliminate. So you can eliminate a device from the signal chain, and then just pop it back in when you want to. So you can do an A/B comparison. So let's have a listen to that distortion. Yeah, it's huge. And then, like we showed earlier, if I just delete this one, we can go back to reseeding on the bar, and you get more of a consistent groove going. Nice. Okay, so hopefully that's useful for well, hopefully if it's not useful, hopefully it's interesting. So yeah, if you do like this, let me know. If you do use it, or you know, if you attempt or make something like this, then I'd love to hear it. Yeah, either way, get in touch, let me know, and then I'll do more. If you don't, then I'll not bother. So, oh yeah, another thing. Yeah, you can hover over a module and using Command R or Control R, I believe, on PC, and it randomizes the module. It randomizes every control. It is incredible. So I mean, it's better than presets, really. It's amazing. You can just scroll through endless possibilities until you find something that's close, and then tweak, perfect. So, like for example, if I just hover over the kick all, oh no, that's E. Hang on. There we go. Brilliant. So what we can do is, now that we've created our wonderful patch and we know what it sounds like, we can have a quick scan through the infinite possibilities. So if I just select, well, pretty much, oh, I don't want everything. I don't want to select, so I'm going to just shift and unselect the mixer, because I don't want to mute anything, and I don't want to affect the overall volume or output, so I'm going to deselect that as well. And now I can randomize everything. Gnarly. I think we just blew it all out. Whoops. Hang on. Is it this? That wave folder is just, the distortion is just completely obliterating everything. Come on. Well, let's deselect this, turn the gain down. Hot garbage. Yes, excellent. So, as you can see there, it's actually a wonder we get anything decent out of it when you look at the infinite possibilities. 99.9% of them are like hot garbage. So, yeah. Anyway, I thought you'd find that interesting. Goodbye. Hold it while I get out full screen and click the thing.